guys, and welcome back. So today's video, I wanted to show you my everyday makeup routine. Now this has become my favorite way to wear my makeup when I'm not filming because it's just so easy, takes no time at all, there's not a whole lot of steps, and you look just effortless in the end. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. I'm gonna zoom you guys just a tiny bit closer because we are gonna get started with the face. Now the first product I'm going to use is by Origins. This is the Plantscription SPF 25. So this is the moisturizer that I use every morning after I wash my face, do a couple other skincare steps. This is what I finish it off with, and I just take a little scoop out and then just begin to work it into the skin. And this is perfect because it is a combo moisturizer and SPF in it. So it's a great way to sneak in a little sunscreen in the mornings, because even if you're just going outside for a little bit, it's still always good to have some sunscreen. I mean, that's the thing that my mom always stressed to me was put on sunscreen. You'll regret it when you're older. So I've been trying to get a lot better at putting sunscreen into my morning routine, and this has been the easiest way possible. Normally I do this off camera though, right after I wash my face in the mornings and all of that. But I wanted to include that today and just kind of show you guys all of the steps I do. Then once the moisturizer has locked in, we can move on to the next step, which I'm going to be taking the Benefit Porefessional. And you guys, if you remember this tiny sample, I got this months ago now. It's still going strong. It's insane how much product you can get out of this tiny little thing. I've been using the crap out of it because it's so good. And I'm just taking a little bit on my two fingers here, and I'm gonna start pressing that in. And I mainly focus it right on my nose and a little bit out here towards the cheeks, because these are where I have my problem areas, where I have a lot of enlarged pores, so I just like to blur it out. And then if I have some leftover, I'll take it down on the chin and a little bit on the forehead, just with the remaining product. I mean, I just love the way that that primer makes my skin look. It just makes it all look so smooth. And this is just an extra step that I like to do. This is the Rimmel Stay Matte Fix and Go. It's a primer and setting spray. I've just recently started getting into using this as the primer. So I'm just gonna quickly spray some on. It's kind of an extra step that, you know, you can do if you want. You can leave it out. I've just started getting into it because I kind of like the way it makes my skin feel. And it just smells really good. It reminds me of cucumber. It just feels so fresh. And I do like that it is a matte setting spray because this is going to be a oily skin approved makeup look. And then that is going to be it for primers, I swear. And we can move on to a little bit of foundation. So I have two here, both oily skin approved. These are my top tier fave foundations, just have different uses. So first up, I have the Healthy Foundation by Physicians Formula. This one has a SPF in it of 20, so I like to use this one kind of mainly during the summer seasons. I add a little bit more extra SPF into it, never hurts. But this one is a little bit of a lighter coverage. It's kind of like a light to a medium coverage. You can't really build it up too much. It's that fresh look, like kind of like the name says, it's like your skin but better. But right now I have some serious problem areas going on and I need a little bit more coverage. So if I didn't have these areas, I'd be going in with this foundation. But since I have that, I'm gonna step up the coverage a little bit. So this is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation, and I have been loving this one. I did a full review on it and I fell in love. This one is a medium to a full coverage, so I like to whip this one out, like I said, when I do have my problem areas. And I just love the way that this looks. So two great foundation options if you have oily skin. Also, I did buy the wrong foundation shade. This one is in Natural Buff. It's like 5 foundation shades too dark for me. So I will take 2 pumps on the back of my hand, and then I will mix in a little bit of the LA Girl Pro Color Mixing Pigment in white. And I'll just drop a little bit like so and make my own little concoction. And I just kind of take a makeup brush and start mixing this around. Because originally I was going to buy the proper foundation shade for myself, but I kind of like the fake tan that the foundation gave me. I just put a little bit of the white mixing pigment in it to tone it down a little bit so it's not so noticeable. But especially during these winter seasons when everybody just looks so pale, a nice little fake tan doesn't hurt. So I just kind of like paint this on all over the face, making sure I put some on my neck as well, since I am kind of altering my foundation shade here. You know, you gotta bring it down the neck. You can't forget that. And then I'm just taking my Real Technique sponge and I'm gonna start blending it out. Which, I mean, you guys can see the coverage of this thing. That's why I love using this one, because I don't even have to worry about going in with extra concealer. I mean, it covers it all right away, so I feel so much better about it. I don't have to do a whole lot of layering. Which, you guys, I do have a oily skin foundation video going up very soon. It's gonna be the best drugstore foundations that are oily skin approved. I'm so excited about that. I'm just kind of putting together my list of all of the foundations that work with my oily skin, and I'm gonna be bringing that to you guys like next week. I'm just giving those foundations one final test drive so I have all my, you know, info right. And that way I'm recommending to you guys some really good stuff. Now let's go ahead and pop on a little bit of concealer. So this is the Tarte Shape Tape, and I have it in the shade Fair Beige, and I'm just gonna plop a little bit right about here. So like a little bit remaining right here, a tiny bit down the nose like so. Now this is a high-end concealer. It's kind of pricey. So if you don't want to spend this amount of cash on a concealer, I have heard that the new Revlon, what is it, the Full Cover Concealer is supposed to be a dupe for this one. I can't exactly vouch for that. I haven't tried it before. I need to pick it up and do a little comparison. But if you want a good drugstore concealer recommendation, I absolutely love the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. Is that the one with the little spongy top? I love that concealer. I need to go and pick up another one because that one is really good. So I would definitely recommend that one if you want something a little bit more inexpensive. And I will have to update you guys about the, not Revlon, the L'Oreal concealer later on and let you know if it's an actual dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape. If it is, I would be so happy. Would save a whole lot of cash there. And then once you have blended out all of the concealer with your sponge, just take kind of the leftover product, don't take any more, and just kind of pat over your eyelids. It just helps to kind of even things out a little bit, because today I'm not going to be using an eyeshadow primer. I know, I always use an eyeshadow primer, but on my natural kind of makeup days, I feel like the one that I use, which is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion Eden, is a very full coverage looking primer. So I want something that looks a little bit more softer, a little bit more natural, and concealer is the perfect thing to do that because it just kind of lays down an even base. And it's so easy to just go like boom, 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 boom. And next, we're going to be taking a classic, the Coty Airspun Translucent Setting Powder. You just can't beat a classic. I absolutely love this powder. It's so good and so inexpensive. So what I do, I'm just going to start pressing a little bit of powder underneath the eyes here. And I take a little bit on top of the lids as well. That way we don't get any creases forming there. And since I do have very oily skin, I will also take some powder on my chin. Same with the smile lines. Whoa, that was a lot. That was an accident. I didn't see how much I dipped in, and then press that in. Because I do get the most oily in my T-zone. Everywhere on my face gets oily, but the T-zone is the heaviest. And I will also press some powder into my nose. And the same with the forehead. It just kind of locks everything in and ensures longevity if I do this. There is no being oily today. And then look at that, we got ourselves a nice little base going on. So the next step is to pop on a little bit of bronzer. No surprise here, I'm gonna be using my Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. And I will be dipping into it using my favorite Aesthetica brush. This brush is bomb. I got it in a BoxyCharm not that long ago and it has become my favorite bronzer brush. It has a little bit of a taper to it, so it helps give it a little bit more precision as you are blending out your bronzer, but still has a lot of fluff to it, so it really blends it out. So I'm just gonna be really bronzing up the face today. Since we're not gonna have a whole lot of going on, I like to add a little bit of extra bronzer just to give a little bit more definition. Just take it around in the perimeters, a little bit on the forehead, you know, the hollows of the cheekbone, down the sides right here, jawline, and some down the neck. Do you ever find yourself making weird faces as you contour? I always go like, I don't know if it helps, but I always catch myself doing that in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, stop. There we go, good. And then once you have that all done, I'll take just a little bit more, but this time on the Wet n Wild, I think this is the highlighter brush, but it's just so precise, it works for this. And I will do like a little bit more precise contouring. Well, not contouring, bronzing, I guess. So it just helps add a little bit more right where I want it. Since it's the same shade we used as the bronzer, it helps kind of blend into the bronzer a little bit better, but you just get a little bit more of a darker shade right where you put it. And then if you feel like you went a little bit too strong or just want to even things out, blend it out, just take your larger brush and just kind of merge the two together a little bit more. And then I'm going to be using another favorite, the L'Oreal Paradise Enchanted Blush. This one is in Bashful. Pop this on the apples of my cheeks. Blend that in, help give a little bit extra color. Oh, which I almost forgot, if you guys want to do this step, so no extra product. I take this Wet n Wild brush and just kind of run it a little bit on the sides of the nose. I've been kind of liking to do this so that way you get a little bit definition on the nose. Nothing too crazy where you're putting a lot of product there, just like the leftovers. And you just make sure you go down each side, a little bit down here at the bottom, and do a little connection up here. Then time for a little bit of highlight. This is by Jouer. It is their Rose Gold Highlighter. And I'm just gonna take a little bit on my Morphe Y14 brush and pop it on the cheekbones. And I've honestly been really enjoying this highlighter. I feel like it's a little bit more subtle. Well, I mean, on camera it looks a little bit harsh. But in person it's more subtle than some of my other highlighters, which I've been kind of enjoying. I've been trying to steer clear of doing an overly strobing look and starting to minimize. I know, crazy. I never thought I'd say that. But I'm going for the little bit more minimal look. And as I'm doing the highlight on the cheekbone, I'll just take a little bit and run it on the brow bone. And I feel like the highlight got a little bit strong on the side. I went a little bit too ham. So I'm just going to take my damp sponge and go over it. It kind of helps to take away a little bit of the highlight so it's not as strong if you don't want that full-on look. Helps take some of that away. Now let's move on to some lips. This is the Kat Von D Everlasting Lip Liner in Lolita. And I'm just going to begin outlining my lips. Once I have the outline done, I'll just take the lip liner in a little bit, like down the center right here, and a little bit on the sides. And I've shown this lip combo before because it's absolutely my favorite. This is the Too Faced Peach Lipstick in Sunday Funday. When I tell you I love this lipstick, I mean I love it. That is all that is left. I use it so frequently. And I'm just gonna pop this in the center of the lips and just kind of tap it in. I just love the combination of those two. It just looks so good. Now this is it matte, but if you want to vamp it up a little bit, have a little bit of a glossy moment, I like to top it with the Dose of Colors the Most. And I just pop this right in the center. That just helps give it a little extra moment, you know, make it look a little juicier. Which now, let's move on to the eyes and the eyebrows so we don't look so crazy. So for brows today, I'm going to be using the ABH Dip Brow in Taupe. And it's one of those things with brows, we just always switch it up. So I've been doing it at a different method recently. I'll take a little bit onto my brush like this, like a little scoop. And then I will place it on the side of my hand like so. I will use my angled brush. I am gonna kind of coat up the brush on each side. So I go like this and work through the product. Doing it this way kind of helps to make the brush a little bit smaller and it's not fluffed out. So if you have very thin brows, I've been really liking doing this because then I will take the brush and I'll just start drawing in little lines like this, kind of like so, and I just go in and draw it like this. I've been trying to stay away from doing the whole outlining and then filling it in. I feel like if you go in and try to create some little brush strokes instead, it looks a little bit more natural. So this has become my new favorite way of doing my brows, and I'll do it with the brush pointing down at first, and I'll go into the brows like so, and then I will take it from the bottom and do some strokes going upwards. So I'll just keep doing that throughout the brow, and I've actually found that this doesn't take any extra time doing it this method, because if you go through, you outline, you fill in, I mean that's a lot of steps in itself, so this is pretty easy. You just go through and create little brush strokes. And then when I get more towards the front, I kind of lean it on the edge of my nose, like right up here. Not the bottom one, but the top little bulge here. And then I will create a few strokes just going upwards right here in the front to give it a little hair-like effect. So just take a spoolie, run it over gently, kind of blend it together and get rid of any like harsh lines that are kind of up here. So what I'll do to top things off is go in with a little bit of brow gel. And this will just kind of help the natural hairs that I do have get a little bit of color to them and lay them in place where I want them. And I'm using the Brow Gel. It's not my favorite brow gel. It's a good brow gel. I got it in a BoxyCharm, but it's not a brow gel that I'm just like, oh, this is amazing. So I'm gonna keep experimenting with brow gels from this one. But with that on top just helps add a little bit of extra color, a little bit more fluff. So yeah, that's my new method. I'm gonna finish this one up real quick and I'll be right back. With both brows now on, I'm gonna do a little bit of eyeshadow, which we can just take the same bronzer we used for the face on our eyes. Just add a little sculpting on the eyes. You can just take your favorite fluffy blending brush. This one's my E40, it's the one that's clean. Otherwise, I would be using my Wet n Wild brush, the fluffy blending brush. I'm just gonna be taking this color into the crease, like so. Just blending back and forth. And then just taking a little bit of color out here, connecting into the outer V and just blending that into it. And I'm not picking up a whole lot of color from the bronzer. I just swirled into it the once and I'm just kind of sweeping it all across. Using the same shade as we used for the bronzer and the rest of the face makes it a little bit monochromatic and gives that whole effortless kind of look, because then it kind of gives off that natural vibe because it all looks like it kind of forms together. With my Real Techniques shading brush, using the bronzer once more, I'm just running a little bit of that product on the lower lash line and just dragging that color all the way across. Just making sure I blend that out. Then time for some mascara. This is the NYX Worth the Hype. I did a first impressions on this mascara a while ago, and at first I was kind of like me about it. But after using it a few more times, I've begun to really enjoy this mascara. It's actually really good. Helps to fluff up the lashes quite a bit. So I'm just gonna coat up the top and the bottom lashes. Ah, I love it when the look starts to come together. To finish things off, I'm gonna pop on some lashes, which this is the Kiss Blowout Lashes in Pixie 102. And my favorite thing about these little falsies is that they look very natural. They don't give off that super fake vibe. Oh, and almost forgot. Just gonna take a little bit of that highlighter we used on the face and pop a little bit right here on the inner corner. Just helps add a little something something. And then the last step, I promise, it's an easy one. We just need to choose some setting spray. So I have two of my favorite ones here to choose from. The Rimmel you guys already saw. This is the Stay Matte Fix and Go. This one I use if I know I'm gonna be indoors. I just set everything down with this. If I know I'm gonna be going outside, I will be spraying this on. This is the Ulta Beauty SPF 50 setting spray. And I will pop a little bit of this on before I leave the house Sometimes I'll even take it with me if I know I'm gonna be out for a while, and then I'll do a reapplication every couple hours and you get a little extra sunscreen. So I like to have this one on hand for those occasions. And for the moment, I'm just gonna be staying indoors with this makeup look. If I'm leaving, I'll pop some of that on before I go, but I'm just gonna finish this off with the Rimmel Stay Matte. And then there we have it. That was the last step to this super easy everyday makeup look. Like I said, by far this is my favorite look to do when I am feeling a little bit lazy, if I'm in a rush, I just want to do something without having to think too much about like creative things to do. This is my go-to, and I think it looks absolutely flawless every time I do it. I just leave the house feeling like I look really good, but it doesn't look like I try too hard. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this little mini tutorial. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that little bell button. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!